Hey there, and welcome to A Well-Rounded Life, the podcast, a space for creative entrepreneurs seeking an intentional life and biz filled with grace, passion, and purpose. I'm your host, Jamira. I'm a mama, wife, dessert fanatic, and on the ultimate mission to get you closer to your idea of what it means to live a well-rounded life. Right here is where you'll find curated resources, quick tips, and relatable stories, no matter what season of life you're in. So hang out with me for a bit and let's dive in. Hey, well-rounders, Jamira here, and welcome back, or welcome if this is your first time hanging out with me. This podcast is all about helping you find the right tools and resources so that you can get closer to your idea of living well-rounded. But before I dive into today's episode, I want to take a moment to say thank you. Thank you to all of you that have left reviews and ratings recently over on Apple Podcasts. A new review just popped up, and I wanted to take a minute to share with you. The review is titled Personal and Professional Running on Heart. First of all, can we talk about that title? Because I love everything about it. And the review says, every podcast I have listened to here is full of real. What makes this such a learning experience for a creative professional like myself is that Jamira's rules are her rules, and she encourages everyone to make their own too. The reason I say running on heart is that Jamira clearly has a foundation she runs on that is grounded in passion, self-care, and making a difference. If anyone tells you a successful business doesn't need heart, they're wrong. And they need some Jamira in their life. Go, G, go. Love it, love it, love it. Thank you so much, Miss Keita, for your sweet words. They mean so very much to me and the team. Love that review because it definitely summarizes what I try to put out here on this show. Now it's your turn. Hit pause and leave your review, and you may just hear your name pop up on a future show. Okay, so let's chat about what I have coming up for you in this episode. I am honored to interview boss babe Jordan Gill, the powerhouse behind the System Saved Me and Done in a Day brands. Jordan and I connected years ago via a mutual friend, Raina Pomeroy, and I've enjoyed watching her business thrive from the sidelines. She is a wealth of knowledge, innovative, and leads a team of women determined to help you get done in a day. Jordan recognized years ago how you can save time and money by systematizing your biz and offering one-day intensives in lieu of traditional coaching services. In fact, she is the reason why I am in love, so in love, with half and full day intensive experiences with my own clients. Let's get to know Jordan a bit via her official bio before I welcome her to the mic. Jordan Gill, operations consultant and founder of System Saved Me, helps overworked one-woman shows become streamlined solopreneurs. Her jam is creating a cohesive operating system for managing your tasks, files, and inbox. She's been on podcasts like What Works and CEO Vibes, sharing her love of replacing monthly retainers with one-day virtual intensives. She currently lives in Dallas, Texas with her Kavapu Vivian and a collection of 1,000-piece jigsaw puzzles. My girl loves her puzzles, y'all. She is phenomenal at puzzles. She is the best dog mom and soon-to-be wife. So let's welcome Jordan to A Well-Rounded Life. Jordan, welcome to the podcast. How are you?
I'm doing so well, and I'm so excited to get to talk about one of my favorite topics ever. So I am just ready and ready to nerd out for real.
Yeah, I was just telling Jordan that she is a pioneer in a lot of things. Podcasting, number one, because before I started my podcast, I just saw how Jordan moved in what she does, and legit, it's inspiring, the whole batching thing. We talked about that. I DM'd you like, how in the hell are you doing a whole podcast in like a week, like a whole season?
Whole season
In a week. So it has definitely encouraged me to get my stuff together. But that's what we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about how Jordan has streamlined her business and everything that she does within her company, and how she doesn't have to work every single day like some of us because she has a dope system in place, a team in place, and she's figured out how to make it work. And on top of that, she has taught other creatives how to do the same thing in their businesses. And so I cannot wait to ask you more about that. But Jordan, really quickly, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Totally. So I'm Jordan, and I am the head honcho founder of Systems Saved Me. Been in business for almost 5 years, and it's been a journey, as they all say, for sure. But our mission really is to eliminate the word burnout from online service providers' vocabulary, because I think it happens all the time. It's happened to me. It's happened to like everybody. And I just am like, there has to be better ways. And for me, I was able to catch it early, and I was really blessed for that because I struggle with a multitude of things, like adrenal fatigue, some chronic fatigue, hypothyroidism, a lot of health stuff. And so I'm forced to have to be a little bit more hyper aware of how I spend my time because I get exhausted very easily. For me, it was finding VIP days, which I know we're going to talk about. And so that's really where my focus has been for especially the past year, but I've been offering VIP days for 4 years. And so, yeah, that's what we're all about. We're a team of 7 women. They're amazing. And I have my family, my fiance, and my bonus son here in Dallas, along with our Cavapoo, Vivian.
I love all of that. And I love how you made a great point about being hyper aware. As someone as well who suffers from a chronic illness, the importance of listening and learning so that you can put systems in place so things work a lot smoother on a day-to-day thing. So love how you made that point. And so you have your systems and things are moving well in your business. And I can name a ton of businesses that are legit flying by the seat of their pants day by day. Why do you believe that these type of businesses don't take the time to put systems in place when we both know that systems work and they make a big difference?
The first one initially is I'm not a systems person. I'm not an organized person. I'm not enter any sort of like realm of that language because people either feel like I can be creative or I can be organized. They don't see them as a partnership. They don't see them as actually working really well together and benefiting creatives, because when you have systems working for you, you're able to be creative more often because you're not dealing with where's my scheduling link or like all this craziness. It's like you get to spend way more time in your art and your like zone of genius without having to do all of like the, glorified secretary work. So that's like the first thing that I think the first hump people have to get over. And then the second one is really this notion of like thinking that relying on their brain is better or a more effective way to get things done. They're like, well, I remember how to do it. So therefore, let me just keep relying on my brain because that's what I know how to do. And if I put it in the system, the system will break, the system will bust. I can't trust it. I can trust my brain, which is fascinating because our brains they were not made to handle the amount of memory that we're putting on it when it comes to all of these little minute details throughout the day. How many decisions are we making a day? Not even business wise, but just in general, like turn on the light, turn on the fan, like go to the bathroom, brush your teeth. Like if I can eliminate the amount of decisions I have to make, then I am a very, very happy person. And so I think those two things tend to hold people back, business owners back, but especially creatives back because they feel like they can be organized and creative, or they think that relying on their own brain is a better option than relying on some system or technology.
I love that because you made a great point about when you were mentioning all the things like, where's my scheduling link? It just made me think about noise, like unnecessary noise, and systems will help eliminate some of the noise. And it also helps eliminate some of the decisions that we have to make because it's done for you. Once you create the template, once you create the system, you don't have to keep reinventing the wheel. And so I just, love that point that people have to understand that the system that you put in place will actually help clear some of the mental clutter so that you can create the things that you, have been called to do. So such a great point there. And so, Jordan, you've seen it all. You've seen it all working in big time businesses before you owned your own company. And you've worked behind the scenes, systematizing some other small businesses across the globe. And so what have you found to be one of the biggest struggles to implementing systems with organizations, big and small?
I would say the big guys. So I worked for an 8-figure company for a bit, for 2 years, in the online space. And I would say the biggest struggle to implementing systems in like the big dogs would be that they tend to really want to make it so automated that then the personalization or the human touch gets lost. And I don't believe that if you automate something, it's automatically lost. Like, I think that there's such a thing as automating. And I think with big businesses, that tends to happen. And then that's where a lot of people are like, well, I can't even relate to this person because I'm getting this like super generic automated thing. And like, it doesn't feel good anymore. And I think with small businesses, I think the biggest difficulty with them as far as really implementing the systems is they're one person, one or two people, and they're trying to create an experience when they have limited time, limited energy, and they can only do so much in a day. And it's really interesting. There's like a quote or something out there, and sorry, I don't know whose it is. Otherwise, I would attribute it. But it's something along the lines of like, we overestimate how much we can get done in a day, and we underestimate how much we can get done in a year. And I think that's super true for small businesses. It's true for everybody, but especially small businesses is like, here's my list of 27 things I'm going to get done today in my 8-hour workday. And it's like, no, this is not like, why are you, before you even start, like you're already totally kind of starting way further back than you need to be. And so, yeah, I found that the implementation, like it really comes down to what are the bite-sized things. It can be really overwhelming because I want to do a lot of things. Like I come up with ideas all the time and I'm like, I totally want to do like this thing over here and I want to add this and I want to do this. And you really have to prioritize. And I think that's a struggle for both big and small businesses is prioritization and knowing what needs to be done first versus trying to do everything at the same time.
Oh, that's so good. I love that. And the biggest thing that I took away from what you just said is people feeling like they can't have a personal touch or personality within the system because I think when people think of the word systems, they think of like a factory or a machine of things moving, but the goal is for people to feel like it's a well-oiled machine, but that is very much personalized to whatever they need. And that's why they're hiring you. So yeah, you can definitely add personal touches in there and high touch points in your system. And it doesn't, everything, like you said, doesn't have to be over automated where it feels like it's a robot by any means. But I do feel like people say, no, I don't want to do that. I want to offer, client experience and all the things. Yes, but that also means you have to be consistent and efficient with what you do. So that's so good. And so you are the queen of VIP intensives, and you have encouraged me to offer them as well in my business. So for the listeners that are still on the fence about offering VIP days, what insight can you provide to them? But let me back it up a bit. What exactly is a VIP day?
Yeah, totally. So my definition of a VIP day, specifically a virtual one, is that it is a 4-figure offering. So I like to start out with the money, honey. It's a 4-figure offering that lasts 3 to 8 hours within a 24-hour period. And it helps a client through a transformation or framework, process, system, whatever. And the reason that I have those 3 numbers, there's 4-figure offering, lasts 3 to 8 hours within a 24-hour period, and it is a 3 to 5 phase transformation, is that it's very concrete. It's very difficult for me to live in like the airiness. And so I think that's why I work well with creatives because, again, I can kind of bring that concreteness to their business. And for most people, a VIP day can look the lowest hanging fruit for creatives or service providers is doing their service in a day. So if you do build websites, you're a website designer in a day. If you do Instagram strategy, you can do Instagram strategy in a day. Whatever that looks like, just doing it within the container of a day versus 6 weeks, 3 months, 6 months, whatever it is. And I do want to preface that when it comes to, people are like, well, how can I swoosh 3 months of something into a day? That seems absurd. You really have to look at like eliminating scope creep, right? You're eliminating people trying to add random stuff onto your plate. You're eliminating the back and forth emails. You're eliminating the delays. You're just eliminating a lot of the junk that comes with longer projects, because it's like, you got me for the day. And if you don't have your stuff together.
You're right. Because when I think about the old way of offering the one-on-one monthly situation, there is a lot of wait time and lag from the emails, and let's check schedules. And did you do your homework? If you offer the homework and stuff up front, and then you knock it out within that time frame, because that's the other thing. If you are running a small business and you have a life and family and all the things, you want to make sure that your time is well spent, and dragging it on when you don't have to. What kind of sense does that make? And so I just think that's, such a great point, is just working smarter, not harder, and maximizing your time with the coach and having it being uninterrupted. So that's the other thing, because in that 3 to 8 hours, you have me as a coach, undivided attention, everything's blocked off, and ask away, get what you need. And then, sometimes some follow-up as needed there. So what kind of businesses do you feel VIP days work best?
Yeah, I would say service providers, coaches, and consultants. And the reason for that is, generally speaking, those people already have frameworks. So you already know, like, okay, if I'm coaching somebody, in their finances or in their health or whatever, you know what it is that are the typical objections or mindset hurdles or traps. And so you can build a framework to then take somebody through that transformation in a very short amount of time. And so, and service providers, again, like they already know how to build a website. So you just do it in a shorter period of time. And I've seen both work really well in a variety of ways. I think the most like unique VIP day is one that I didn't even know. I like to be stretched. So if you have a really interesting VIP day, come like DM me on Instagram, because it's a very fun challenge for me. So this woman she created or wrote songs that helped heal people's trauma. I was like, okay, let me sit with this, because I was like, I don't know. And so I went to a friend of mine who has a bit more of like a woo lens than I do. And she was like, okay, what is this about? And I let her know, and she was like, oh my gosh, this sounds amazing. Like, I would totally want to be a referral partner for her. So I'm like, well, I think we've validated. And so now she's been able to write these like beautiful songs. She basically does, some connection in the morning, and then she goes off and writes the song, literally produces it, does all the things. And then by the end of the day, this person has a song that helps them to really move through their trauma, which is like some kind of like amazing. And so it's really fun to see like, okay, if you're less unique than that, then most likely you can create a VIP day. That's what I like to say.
That's amazing. It's pretty amazing. And I want to encourage someone who is very talented in what they do, and they do want to move over to the educating, coaching, speaking space, whatever it is, to start with the idea of VIP days to maximize your time and not fall into the trap of feeling like you have to just be always available. To me, when I think VIP day, it is definitely that. It makes me think VIP luxury, it's access, when VIP means access. So that means you do get me undivided. And I think that is something that if you can jump into it, starting with VIP days, knowing that people can just block you off for a day, you will see the results and how it allows you to work smarter. And I just think that's such a great point there. And so, Jordan, if someone is feeling stuck on how much to charge for these VIPs, all access type of days, what advice would you give them in that capacity? Because pricing is always an issue for us.
Yeah, it is. It's tough. I mean, I think I have a bit of a, I guess, unconventional viewpoint on pricing. I don't think that for VIP days anyway, I have yet to be like, okay, enter your normal month, hourly rate, enter this. Like, it's not as black and white. For me, a fun challenge that I like to tell people is take your monthly retainer rate. So again, my monthly retainer rate at the time that I started doing it was $3,500. Take that and try to offer it for a day and see what happens. So I started charging $3,000 for 4 hours of my time, literally like in month 7 of my business, which, I was a young buck. I was like, I don't know, 25, 26. And so I didn't know any better. I just was like, whatever, I'm naive. But it worked well for me because that then became my starting point. And I think there's something to be said about giving it a shot. And if it doesn't work, then great. Like, then let's play around with something a little underneath that. I think that my biggest thing is starting at 4 figures because it is not the same, like taking your monthly retainer hours and like positioning it similarly to VIP day hours is absolutely not the same. Like VIP day hours are like the most infused, like if you think of like water that's infused, like the most infused hours of someone's time. It is not as like lackadaisical as monthly retainer hours, or not even lackadaisical, but just you're doing both strategy and like coaching and implementation sometimes and all of that stuff in one. And so that is like a powerful, powerful hour, of several hours like that. And so that sheer focus really is what people are paying for. And so do not underprice yourself. So I like to say it should be at least $1,000. And if you're like, that is outrageous, start at $1,000. Like, just please no 997. Y'all try and get tricky with me. Start with $1,000.
997, yeah.
I get tried every time. I'm like, y'all.
999.99.
So that's my thing about pricing is like try and shoot for the stars and like see what happens. Because again, a lot of times then people are surprised and are like, somebody just bought it, and it's like, cool, great, that's your price then.
And it sounds bad what I'm about to say, but if anyone has ever hosted a VIP day or something of the sorts, it can be draining on the actual coach and service provider because you are literally pouring everything into this person with the idea that it's going to change their life. It will be transformational, as you said. And so I put everything on the line, and when it's over, I can feel great about it, but it's a lot. It's a lot of energy.
It is a lot of energy
that goes into it. And so I'm getting started with the VIP situation. Where would one find clients that would actually hire them for this 4-figure VIP day situation that we're setting up here?
Yeah. So for a lot of people, I'm as young as I am, I guess I'm 30. So I guess, I don't know what that is, middle age, who knows? But
young, Jordan.
I don't know what I'm like. 30 feels so random.
You're killing it at 30. Let's just stop and acknowledge that. Let's just take a minute to just appreciate where you are and how you're kicking ass. So let me put that out there, but continue, young buck.
So I think, people are taught more how to avoid talking to people. A lot of marketing these days is very much like, how can we not talk to anybody? And with VIP days, it's not like that. VIP day people, they don't necessarily want to talk to you a lot, but they like human connection. They want to know who you are. They want to know what you're about. And so I tell a lot of people, I started out getting a lot of clients through events. Obviously, at the time of this recording, with COVID, we are not doing a whole lot of live events, but there's a lot of virtual events happening, and I've been able to do the same. So what I like to say about VIP day, like marketing and sales, is that it's all connection based. It's not like passive marketing. Like, you're not going to turn on a funnel and like have this long webinar and like do the whole thing. People, what's funny is I don't have a work with me or services page. I never have for my VIP days, not a single day. I've had a lot of coming soon pages that were never coming soon. They were just there to say that at least like, okay, she's like alive. She's a person. And that they served their purpose. And I was still able to make 6 figures a year with a coming soon page. So really it comes down to like I say guest podcasting is great. I say going to events, whether virtual or online, is great. But then also like just having conversations. I think people overcomplicate sales, and really it's just like, hey, do you want my thing? No? Okay, cool. And hey, do you want my thing? Yeah, great. I think as women, we like fully just like, we attach meaning to everything. And I am 100% also a part of this camp, by the way. And we attach meaning, it's like, oh, like, what's going on in your business? And someone just like says one sentence, and we're like, oh my gosh, they think I'm the most annoying person ever. I just like totally ruined this entire process. Like, we get into our heads, and it's like, literally all she said was like one sentence. Like, it wasn't negative. It wasn't bad. Like, calm down. And so, I'm just really a natural conversationalist. I love talking with people. And so starting DM conversations is very normal to me. Like, I'll just start up conversations with random people all the time. And so, it either can lead to, them needing something, or it can lead to them knowing someone who needs help with it as well. So yeah, I would say those are a few of them.
No, that's a great point. The word of mouth, the more that you put yourself out there, the more people know you and your brand and what you offer. And if it comes up in conversation, like, oh, I'm looking for a coach that does this. Oh, I follow this girl on Instagram and here's her page. Let me send you her profile. So that's so important, is just putting yourself out there and exposing to people what you do, what you offer, and how you do it is such a great point. And you do a great job on social media showing up. And you're like, this is my thing. Do you want it? Take it or leave it, because I know it's a good thing and somebody's going to be blessed by it. It may not be good for you in this season, but there's a lot of people that are loving this and being having their businesses changed by it. So it's you lead by example in that area. So that's awesome. And so, Jordan, with your podcast and the VIP stuff that you do and your educational platform that you run, what are some of your favorite tools and resources that you personally or your company uses on a day-to-day basis?
Oh my goodness. I love tools and resources. I feel like we could have just had the whole podcast on this one question.
Legit, because you do a great job. Like, when you find something, you're going to tell people about it. And then I'm like Googling it. Yeah.
All over it. I would say in our company, again, we have a team of 7 now, which is insane. I'm about to hire our 8th. But we use ClickUp. That's my favorite project management software. That is how we track the tasks that we're doing on a daily basis. And so it's really important, because there maybe is a more annoying question, but in business, there's like, the most annoying question is like, hey, did you do that thing? Like, I hate having to ask that question, and I hate when people ask me that question. So to eliminate all of that, just like go into ClickUp, see if it has a green check mark next to it. And if it does, then it's done, right? And so ClickUp's great. And then we also use Airtable for our people management, in the sense of all of our client CRM is in there. So every client that comes into our program, we track our podcast client stuff in there, or podcast, I guess, guests in there. We also track our like sponsor speakers, all of affiliates for our conferences in there. So that's really kind of our CRM database. So we really like that. And then we also use Slack a lot. So that is where we talk every day. We have lots of channels for all sorts of things. So I'd say those are like, every day I'm logging into every single one of those. Like, that just is happening.
So I've seen ClickUp. A lot of people have used ClickUp and Airtable. I'm still in Asana, getting more into Trello. Have you found something that is a nice marriage between the two, with the visual component that you get from Trello, but I'm a check off the list type of girl?
Yeah. I mean, that's like kind of the beauty of ClickUp. Like, it honestly is Asana and Trello kind of married plus some. So it is pretty robust. But what I've found to be really nice is, again, having so many different people on the team. Some people do use it at like, it looks like Trello, but you can use that same information and see it in a checklist. And you can see it in a calendar view. You can see it in a Gantt chart. Like, you can see it in all these different types of views, but it's the same information, which I think is nice, because again, people work differently. Like, I'm a checklist person too, like you, but some people like to move the little cards across.
Yeah, when I'm working with my virtual assistant, we use Trello, because if we're doing the newsletter, we can see what it's going to look like visually in Trello. But if I'm doing the checklist thing to like brain dump, for some reason, I'm all over Asana, because I don't need to see it visually there. So I'm at the point now where I'm like, is there one thing that does that I can have everything under one umbrella. And because I see ClickUp and Airtable and it feels a little intimidating, but I also felt intimidated by Trello. So I say that and I'm like, girl, figure it out. Get your life together.
By Trello, then everything probably is going to intimidate you. But
yeah, it was at first like, yeah.
But any project management software, like the thing is, you're going to go into it and it's going to be blank. So like, you got to build it how you want it. And I think that's where people are like, I see these people, using this, Asana, and then they get in, and they're like, there's nothing in here. And it's like, yeah, I know.
And Slack, game changer, because when you do build out your team and you communicate, it's so great because it does integrate with a lot of the tools that you just mentioned, and everything. You can go back and read the conversations and reach out to people and snooze it if you need to, but it's better than going back and forth on email, because who has time for that? So I love Slack for the capabilities there. And I'll link all of this in the show notes so that you guys can check it out and play around with the different project management software. CRMs are a game changer because that also eliminates tools that you don't need, and it will help your system work a lot more efficiently. So I love that. And so around these parts, Jordan, we do not believe in the word balance. However, you're running a business, you're a fellow podcaster, soon to be wife, bonus mom, and all the things there. So what is your definition of living well-rounded?
Yeah, I think my definition of living well-rounded is like acknowledging all of your identities and all of your responsibilities, whatever you want to call them, and recognizing that you don't have to be all of them at the same time. It's almost like we think that, we have to be the best wife, mom, podcaster, business owner, dog mom, sister, like all the things at the same time. And I'm a pretty compartmentalized person. And so when I am, God bless my fiance, he's very, at first when we got together, he was like, what is happening with your life? Long VIP days where like, you don't talk to me for like 8 hours. But then when I'm at home, like I'm really at home, I'm really present. I'm not trying to do Instagram stories. I'm not trying to like be all cute and whatever. Like I am in like bonus mom, volcanoes erupting, on the kitchen table with whatever else going on that literally happened yesterday. And that's what I think living well-rounded is it's not, it doesn't have to be everything. It can be, I'm going to be a great mom in the next 2 hours. And then I'll be a great wife for an hour. I'll be a great business owner for a few hours. And even like days, like there are some days where it's just like, listen, I'm cranky. So like tomorrow is just going to be better for me to be able to like be more present or whatever the case is. I think that's really what living around it is it's not forcing yourself to be everything at the same time.
That is so good and speaks to everything about our brand of being intentional with the time. But another question though, that just came from that. You train students, teach, all of us about how you can do maybe 4 VIP days a month or whatever. But what are we doing in the rest of the months? Or, the rest of the month, the rest of the time, like we've got 4 VIP days booked, maybe 1 a week. But what else am I supposed to be doing in the meantime?
Yeah. So, there was a time for about 1.5 years where I was literally working 3 days a week. So I had Mondays and Fridays always off. And I would market or connect with people on Tuesdays and Wednesdays and do, my VIP on Thursday. And then I would go off into the weekend, rest, and start back up again the next week. And I think, again, it's not as if, okay, I want more money, so I have to work more. It's really about like, I said no to a lot of things during those 3-day work weeks. Like for me, for like even my Instagram and social media, like I created a 90-day editorial calendar for Instagram and I put it on repeat. And so for an entire year, like it looked like I was posting daily, but really it was just like automated and it was like my best content. And I like put my efforts into it, but I did not want to have to think about my Instagram. Like that just was not a priority at that time. And so I was a one-person pony and I was like, well, I want to be doing this, but it has to be in an automated format. So for me, it really focused on, going to events and connecting with people and doing podcast interviews and then VIP days. And that was it. So I kept it really lean and simple. which again, it's okay to say no to a lot of things in order to really stay in alignment with how you want your business to fit into your life. And I think a lot of people instead want to just push the limits when it comes to their business. And so for me, I was a single person at the time. And I was just like, I just want to live a really nice life. I'm not trying to be a millionaire. I'm not trying to do all of this. I really just want to enjoy my 20s and travel. So, I was making between 185 and 220-ish thousand a year, working with clients 4 days a month and having 4-day work weekends every weekend. And that's what I wanted. And so I was able to build that with VIP days. So I think you really can build a business based off the life that you want. And it's okay to say no to stuff.
I love that. You really can build a business based on the type of life that you want. Amen. Because the reality of it is we are in sales all day, every day. And my husband's in sales. I'm in sales in some capacity. And he loves it because that means that sky's the limit. It's you eat what you kill, we say around here. And so you don't feel like you are, some jobs, there is a salary cap or promotion that's it. There's a ceiling, but you can definitely in this type of space that we're in, create a business based off of the life that you want and the money you need to make to support that. So that's such a great point. And then going back really quickly to the social media point, I love that. The fact that you can create the 90 days and then recycle the content so it looks like you're showing up every single day. And so it just encouraged me to block off some time to brainstorm, to create the content, to get it out of my brain and then hit, rotate on it and it's done. And I'm like, okay, why not? You don't have to keep reinventing the wheel, even when it comes to social media. Put a system in place for that as well. So that's such a great point. And then you also mentioned the power of being able to say no. And so on a personal level, what are you saying no to in order to say yes to what matters in your upcoming season?
Oh, goodness. I'm saying no to a lot more, which is the benefit of being in business for 5 years. And really, I spent a lot of that time connecting with people and that pays off. It's a little bit slower of a way to build a business. But again, for me, I'm not in a rush. I'm not on a timeline. There's no marathon person tooting a horn. I like knowing that I have built my business on relationships. And if God forbid, my Instagram goes down or whatever, I have cell phone numbers of multiple people who I'd be like, hey, can you post on your Instagram about this thing? Or, hey, help me build this up or get me more clients or whatever else, because I've built genuine relationships with people and I'm invested in them and they're invested in me. And if they need help, I'm there. And if I need help, they're there. So I think what I'm saying no to a lot in this upcoming season is just for me, especially with virtual schooling and navigating, becoming a wife and mom and all of these things. It's a lot of new identities. And I'm like, okay, what is this? And we're going to have to combine our lives and all of that. So I'm saying no to a lot more of the things that are not as closely aligned to all roads lead to done in a day. So I'll be talking a lot less about systems. I love talking about systems, but because it's not as on point with where our all roads lead to done in a day is, which is our group coaching program, I'll be saying no to a lot more systems oriented stuff, which is hard for me because I really do enjoy talking about it. But as far as time is concerned, I have to make a little bit more time for family and for, connecting and combining our lives. So that's something that I'm definitely saying no to. And I also need to get my health back on track for sure. Not because of again, I'm pretty good at managing how many hours of calls I'm on a week, but I am just convenience eating. Honestly, I think it's pandemic related. So, I'm just
I'm raising my hand here because I am that girl who's now trying to lose the weight before the world opens back up.
I know, right? I'm
so you're not alone, sis. You're not alone. So we took advantage, and so it was easy to put on. It's a lot harder to get off. But listeners, you are not alone. We are in this together.
Through that, like when it is back and we can, high five and hang out with people, like we'll all be back. We'll all be beat. We'll have our stuff together. But
until then, you're going to see my round face.
Yeah.
It's a little rounder than the last time I saw you. So here it is. Take it and love me for me in this moment. But no, everything that you said is great because it definitely shows that your priorities are always going to be family first and your business can make money, but you don't have to kill yourself in the process to make the money. You just got to be strategic about what offers make sense for your business in the season of life that you're in. And so that's such a great point. And I hope someone is inspired by doing things a new way for if you are moving into a new season and making sure your business is aligned with those new goals. So that is great. All right, Jordan, we're going to move on to rapid fire, this or that, a new segment for this season of the podcast. The question that I like to ask everybody is, you're stuck on an island and the three things you must take are, and it can't be your boo, can't take your son. So what are we taking on this island?
Oh, goodness. Well, islands don't really have even surfaces. So I don't think I could even bring like a 1,500 piece puzzle to enjoy.
Oh yes. You're the puzzle girl. I was like, how do you have, I watch your stories and you'll be like puzzle done. And I'm like, there's no way. I don't have the patience, but you be on those puzzles, girl.
I know. That's how I decompress, man. My puzzles are great, but there's no even surfaces. You can't really puzzle in the sand. So I wouldn't take that. But honestly, I would probably take some books just because, again, you're probably on there for who knows how long. So you might as well entertain yourself some way, because bringing electronics, you have nothing to do with them after a couple hours. So I would bring books. I would bring, I don't know, pounds of like beef jerky or something. Like, you need to keep protein with you. Like, I'm a very logistical thinker with this question. How can I survive? So like bundles of beef jerky, even though I don't even eat that like on a normal basis, but I just feel like it's stacked with protein and can last a while. So,
so thought out. So thought out.
And probably a blanket of some sort because it would get cold at night. And I'm like a really prissy sleeper. Like I like
Survivor Jordan.
I will never be on the show Survivor ever.
Yeah, right. Or what is it? The one where they're naked and afraid. Yeah. Pandemic got me watching all kind of things.
It's so true.
Yeah. It's like, no way. Netflix or YouTube?
Netflix.
Okay. And you have traveled a lot of places around the world and even domestically. What is your favorite city that you have actually lived in?
Honestly, Dallas is my favorite city I've lived in, but I've also lived in London, England for a summer, and that was awesome too. So those are my two favorites.
Passenger or driver?
Driver for sure. Control freak. I don't like actually driving, but I like to be in control. So you kind of gotta.
I would be on my phone doing social media with my husband drives because he drives when we're together.
Oh, yeah.
Because he gets car sick. So that's a fun fact.
Oh.
We've been together at this point, 20 something years. And I can count on my hand how many times I have driven between the two of us.
What?
Your face. Because he gets car sick if he's not the driver.
That is so interesting. Well, I mean, I guess it makes sense from a car.
So he drives and I am fine being in the passenger side. It works.
Hanging out.
Yeah. If you could hire a personal chef or have cleaning once a week or have a personal driver, which one would you choose?
It's tough between chef and cleaning, but I would say cleaning because that's what I currently have. And I can't imagine not having that.
Right. Yeah.
Like even dating my now fiance, on like the third date, I was like, listen, you're looking for somebody who's like very domestic, like oriented. You're not going to really like me very much.
I'm not it.
I've had a cleaning lady for like 4 years as a single person. So like, that's that. And he's like, okay. But he loves it now because he gets the benefits, but
it's a game changer. And if you don't have someone that cleans at least, once a month to treat yourself. So like to just maintain your home, I definitely recommend that as well. Phone call or text if someone is really trying to connect with you.
Oh gosh. Is this a person I want to talk to, or is this a person I don't
Yeah.
want to talk to?
No, people you like.
Okay. People I want to talk to. I would say phone call.
Okay. Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
people's voice.
Favorite candy?
Oh gosh. Hot tamales.
Okay. That's different.
It is.
I don't like spicy anything. So the thought of that's not for me. No, it's a no for me.
Totally.
Rich friend or loyal friend?
Oh, loyal friend, like for sure. I have a lot of friends who are not business owners, and they're always just like, "What are you talking? How did you make $100 and some $1,000s in this launch? I don't understand." And they're teachers, they're other things, and I'm just like, listen, like just because I'm doing this over here doesn't mean that makes our friendship any less valuable. So I would 100% rather have a loyal friend than a rich friend.
What was your first job?
Well, this is a fun one. So when I was 15, I started working at a factory in an assembly line building science kits for elementary school kids. So literally picturing like it's like a real factory, like there's like soot and like it's dirty. But I wanted my own money, and that was one of the only places you could work at 15 in Buffalo where I lived. And yeah, I worked there for a summer and made really nice money as a 15-year-old. But I learned a lot because there's a lot of like college students working there. And I was like, if my parents knew all the things I was learning, this probably wouldn't be where they would want
You would be snatched from that factory real quick.
But I was still a good kid, so it didn't matter.
She's getting plucked off the assembly line.
Yeah. Exactly.
Who would you want to play you in a movie?
Ooh, I get mistaken. It's very interesting who I get mistaken for in like airports and stuff. So I feel like it would either be like Rosario Dawson I get mistaken for, which is really interesting. So maybe her, or yeah, she's the first one that comes to mind, who's like an actual actress. I get mistaken for other types of people, but I would say her probably.
That's always a question that people go, Someone asked me that question and I was like, Megan Good? Like, it's like hard to think of people that would actually, people wouldn't be like, good and well, you don't look like this person, but.
Right. They're just playing you in the movie. Like they don't want to look exactly like you.
What's something on your bucket list?
Ooh, so now my bucket list is definitely to have a second home somewhere. We've looked at Costa Rica and whatnot. But I also really love Barcelona. So it probably will be one or the other. Costa Rica is a nice 3 hours away. So it's like a lot easier to get to. But Barcelona is my favorite city in the whole wide world. So I'm like, I don't know. So having a second home somewhere.
I mean, why not go for 3, Jordan? You're already doing it. You just go for 3.
Clearly, that's probably where it will land.
Shoot for the stars, man. Just go for 3. All right, Jordan, this was so much fun. And so I would love for our audience to continue to connect with you. Where may they find you on the web, social, and all the things?
Yes. So Instagram's my jam. So @System Saved Me. If you want to come say hello, I have a lot of videos. I got a lot of stuff. Now I have a team, like a 3-person team who's in charge of my content. So they're really great at taking my genius and my expertise and relaying it in a really cool way. Then I have my website, System Saved Me. Obviously, you're a podcast listener. So we have System Saved Me, the podcast. I would say those are the main places to go and hang out. You can go to other places, but I'm like not there. So.
Yeah, no, I love how you show up on my feed and social because it's very intentional. The stuff you put out, it's not a waste. It's always I'm learning something, or you're just showing people the way. So I think that's great. In the podcast, you have some really awesome guests, including myself in previous season. I do say so. So go back and check that out. We'll link it in the show notes. But this was so much fun, Jordan. You are such a busy bee, so I do not take your time for granted, and I appreciate you hanging out with me today. And well-rounders, make sure you are subscribed to the podcast, mine and Jordan's System Saved Me. Give us 5-star ratings and reviews. We would appreciate it. It means a lot to us. And then leave in the comments, let us know that you found Jordan via this podcast, vice versa. Slide into our DMs because we do love connecting with you. Say hi. And, with everything going on, I always have to end with stay safe, stay positive, and remember to focus on what matters most. Thank you, guys. And thank you, Jordan. Bye.
Thanks for having me.
Friends, thanks for kicking it with us this week. Remember to subscribe so you're notified when a new episode airs. I'd love it if you leave us a review and share this goodness with your squad. Until next time, seek a well-rounded life and remember to focus on what matters most.